Toronto Maple Leafs. A little bit of
Hmm.
news for them. You love your Maple Leaf news. So Jack Campbell injured for 2 weeks, rib injury.
Yep.
You think it's 2 weeks, or you think it's a little longer than that?
No, usually, at least this season, I've noticed that like when the Leafs have said 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it is, it usually is that amount of time.
Yeah.
I find it funny here too how like sorry, I'm just on the TSN page where it's like Leafs goalie Campbell out at least 2 weeks, and like the video is showing Mrazek. I guess
Yeah.
there the
They're gonna
video's
play.
talking about how Mrazek this is opportunity. Yeah.
That's right. And the way that did did Campbell play versus Seattle? Think so.
Yes, he did.
So he got
Yeah.
injured in that game
He It must have been,
or in
or
practice.
unless it was in like practice today. Well, I mean, let me read here. It says aggravated the issue during Tuesday's game. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So was he
So,
fighting
and then
with
he
it?
tweaked. Yeah, it says he tweaked something a while ago and then aggravated it on Tuesday. So maybe this has been the reason why he's been playing shaky since, January 15th. I'm looking here. He has an 865 save percentage since January 15th.
Why would they so so okay, he if he had this, all right, and was not disclosed to the public, of course, yeah, I don't they wouldn't want to disclose it.
Hmm.
And they let him play. Why would they let him play through it? I don't get that. Why would they let
Well, I mean, I'm sure coaches and like I'm sure management and both Campbell have had like daily discussions on like his health and just making sure that he's in shape. And but that's the thing, right? If the player says he's good to go, then like as a coach, what are you gonna do? Like you can't force the guy to go out unless you
no.
truly believe that he's injured. But like if he says he's good and he looks good, then you keep going with him. But clearly there's something wrong, and I think they both just came to terms and realized, yeah, maybe some time off would be best for you just to let this fully heal, especially now that, we're coming down to the business end of the season. Playoffs are right around the corner, and they need both goalies to be honest, Mrazek and
Yeah.
Campbell to be at their best. Like there's no time to mess up now.
Mrazek needs to step up for sure, and a little bit more ice time might help him. Even if it's if he does poorly, he still gets to see ice
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, exactly. Just, seeing shots from different angles, seeing how the way the team plays in front of him. I think that was like the big issue when Mrazek was injured earlier in the season. He never got a chance to play behind the team and see like um what their tendencies are and like what he has to do to play around them and work as one, right? Because it's a team sport. And the goalie's included in that, and you got to work as a unit.
That's right. That's right.
And if one it's a good machine. If one cog isn't working, then the whole machine will fail.
There you go. You heard it there. A lot of blown 3 goal leads. Um,
Yeah.
the string of them is a little excessive. Seattle was with 3-1 lead,
Yep, it was.
and then
Columbus was 3-0.
yeah,
Vancouver was just a back and forth game. You got Buffalo, that was a terrible game. Washington, they won, but again, I think they blew a lead in that one too.
yeah,
There was the Detroit game, which is
yeah,
enough said, low scoring football game.
yeah. Football game.
Um, I mean, like literally the last good game, like the last solid game that the Leafs played, start to finish, was Minnesota on February 24th.
That 2-1
They won
game.
three to
Oh,
one.
3-1. Sorry, 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1.
But then the night
But in
before they played. No, not the night before, but they played Montreal, right? Remember
Yeah,
when they
so
blew?
yeah, we'll get to that one. But yeah, Columbus was the game right before that, which they lost in overtime.
Okay,
Montreal was the night before that, which again, I don't talk about that game. They played the Saturday before that against St. Louis. They lost 6-3.
okay.
But then the game before that against Pittsburgh, 4-1 win. Those are their last two solid games, Pittsburgh and Minnesota. And they were both in February. That's almost a month ago now.
They have one of the worst save percentage slash goals against average
Hmm.
so far
But
this year.
you know what, man? Like, obviously, like the way they've been playing, like especially recent, like like this whole week, like Columbus, they again they blew a 3 goal lead. Seattle a blue lead, but they're getting the win in the end. And when you're at this time of the year where like teams are closing in, like the division's close, you know, as the Leafs have been losing games, like Boston has just kind of climbed up and is like, hey, like we're only 6 points behind you now, so that's kind of scaring me. But yeah, at this point, honestly, it'd be nice to get a good win, but in the end, I just want the 2 points. I won't. I'm not gonna be picky. You can't be picky.
It just doesn't look good.
No.
It does not look good, and it would make me scared as a Leafs fan going into the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think up until yesterday, that's kind of how I felt. I was feeling really scared, but then yesterday, I don't know what it was. Maybe I just saw something or heard something,
You're
and just kind
Jesus.
of, yeah. and and it just got me thinking, like, yeah, when the standings are this close, I just care about the win. We can figure out like there's still 20 games left for them to clean up the way they play. But at this point, just walk away with the win. And again, I mean, man, Matthews is scoring at a ridiculous pace as well in these games. So like, if they're going to be high scoring games, that just gives Matthew more of a chance to score and just solidify his claim for the Hart
His
Trophy. So
dominance, but that's not really a team effort, is it?
no, and that's the thing. Like I've noticed throughout this like slump in a way you could say this the way they've been playing. Like the top line has been the only consistent thing for the Leafs.
A down
Bunting,
spell,
Matthews, and
a
Marner
little down
have been
spell.
the down spell. I think that's a good word. But the top line, they've been the only consistent thing for this team. They've always been there. They score points night in, night out. Like it's ridiculous the way they're scoring points.
Yep.
It's good though that now Tavares, I think he's got his mojo back. So you can see that.
Nylander
And
and
they
Tavares are minuses. Nylander's in minus 11.
Yeah, and again, that line has been struggling, but
Interesting.
again, you see now Tavares, he's gotten some goals again recently. Nylander's he's starting to get some points again too, and they got Robertson playing with him, just some young legs, a guy who's kind of frothing at the mouth for this chance
Opportunity.
to play so high up in the lineup.
Yeah.
I think it's only a good thing for them. So you're seeing them starting to pick it up again. The third line has just always been pretty decent. Can't complain about Camp Mikheyev and Engvall. They've actually been really solid recently.
Yeah.
And then the fourth line, I mean, you got guys like Kerfoot's actually been demoted to the fourth line recently, which
I'm not about.
it's it's crazy to think, but I mean, at the same time, that Kerfoot on your fourth line, like it sucks that he's not seeing the ice as much, but he's almost more effective and like he's fresh whenever he goes on because he's not
How
playing as
much is he
often.
getting paid?
Kerfoot is, I think, 4.5.
You're gonna have a $4.5 million play on your fourth line.
Again, it's just momentarily. I think come playoffs, he'll go back on the second line. Even like I noticed against Columbus and against Seattle, like in
I
the end
think
of the game where it's kind of been
I think the reason why
like
he's
Keith has gone
there
back.
is because Andre Cash is injured.
He came back. He's back
Okay.
now.
Okay. Did he play the other
But
day? I don't think he
he
played
did. He played
Seattle.
against Seattle. They gave Spezza the night off because I
Okay.
think he's needed one. He even Simmons. I think Simmons deserves a night off too. You can kind of tell he may look a little burnt out, but I don't know.
Uh,
Again, I think it's mainly though now it's because Robertson's in the lineup that they want. Because the thing, if you put Robertson on the fourth line, he's not gonna play well because
I'm
you
not
can't give a
disagreeing
guy like
with you. I'm
that.
not disagreeing with you with Robertson. Although he in 6 games he's got a -2. I don't. I'm not
Yeah. Oh,
like
sorry. Kerfoot's actually making 3.5.
okay.
So not as bad, but yeah, still
No.
I understand 3.5 for a fourth liner, but
If I saw versatility, if I saw that Kerfoot playing on the fourth line and the rest of the team could still play effectively, then I would see Kerfoot out and then try to get myself a defenseman because let's be honest here, that's exactly what the Leafs are in need of.
I mean, you could get rid of a guy like yeah, you could do a move like that, but I don't think it happens before the deadline. I think something like that maybe happens in the summer
Well,
because again, you
depends.
could
What they need cap. They need to get this going. You know,
Yeah, I get it. They do, but I don't know. I still
anything that
think
they're gonna need or anything that they're gonna be looking at is gonna be about 3.5 million up.
that's very true. Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. I just feel like with Kerfoot, like again, they're just. I think right now they're showing off Robertson more so. Like I think if anything, he'll be the guy to get traded, and then Kerfoot will go back up on the
Robertson?
second line. Could be.
No, no,
He could be.
because okay,
Not for a rental though.
they would never. I don't think Nick Robertson's gonna be traded.
He can be.
I don't think so because I think he's gonna be the guy that eventually plays on the second line. Look, Tavares is getting older, and
Hmm.
they definitely want someone that could take up the reins on the second line when he does eventually go away.
But that's
And
a centerman that you need then. Roberts is a winger.
he's been a center in his
He's
career.
small though. He can't be a center in the NHL. He's too small for that. Something like five. He's like
Oh,
5'9".
so that doesn't mean you can't play as a center.
It's more difficult. I mean, I'd rather have a guy who's 5'11" plus playing center. That would be nice.
If Nicholas Robertson, I don't think he's gonna go because they need a winger. Simple as that. They needed a winger to play on that second line, and
Because then, yeah,
Robertson is that guy that he's had a minus ever since he's gone on that line. Well, yeah, Vancouver, he got a goal, so he's a +1 there. But then
hmm
Columbus and Seattle -1,
yeah,
still about the same amount of ice time. So of course he's a young guy. He hasn't really experienced that top six before. He's playing with different line mates all the time. Hopefully, it's
hmm
consistency for him. I think they would rather keep him instead of going out there and acquiring a guy like JT Miller or a winger in the free agency and focus solely on their nest on what they need.
right.
Kerfoot, if you can put him on the fourth line, what I don't know. Why would you trade Nicholas Robertson? Who would you play? Who would you put on your top six? Andre Cash?
He could. I mean, they did try it earlier. It didn't seem like he totally fits on the Leafs top six. I think he's perfect on the Leafs third line.
Yeah,
Um, Again, I mean, I don't know. I was gonna say though with Kerfoot, like I noticed in those games, like especially towards like the last 5 minutes of the game, they put him back with Tavares and Nylander because they were like, okay, we can't blow this lead and we can't have a young player who might is more likely to make a mistake than a guy who's a bit more experienced and has that poise
that's right.
to do the right play. So I think that's why I don't see Kerfoot getting traded either because I think come playoff time he's getting put back on that second line. That's where he won, and that's where he's played most of the year. He's looked very good there with Nylander and Tavares. So yeah, again,
It's a
I don't
tricky
think either of them
situation.
get traded. I don't think either of them get traded. Like
Who would
I
go
don't
out?
know.
Who would go out then in a trade for a defenseman? Anything out there? Who? It doesn't matter what they're getting back. Who would be getting out from the Toronto Maple Leafs to go get this asset?
Man, that's it's a loaded question. It really is.
Loaded question.
It would definitely have to be a prospect of sorts.
You gotta get Cap out of here.
That is true. Kinda, sorta. I don't know what their
I'm looking at right
huh.
now.
It says currently they have 3.7 is their deadline
Project.
cap space.
Oh, 3.7.
Is their deadline cap space, yeah.
Because it said projected cap. They have
3.719.
91,000.
Yeah, that's don't worry about that. Don't worry
Okay,
about that number.
we
That's
don't
okay.
look at that number.
Um no, yeah, I just know literally just look at like if you click on the Leafs, it'll go to current cap space and deadline cap space. So those
I
are the
see
ones to
that.
look at.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially right now with Muzzin on the LTIR. So that number is actually growing and growing each day. But he's back to skating, so he'll probably be back within the next couple weeks, I assume.
Yes.
Maybe mid April, I think at latest will be his return. Um and oh yeah, that's another thing too with Campbell. You were saying like do you think it's actually 2 weeks? I think if it was more than 2 weeks, they would have put him on LTIR just to try and save as much money as they can, right?
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, he's gonna come back, and he might not come back. But hey, we're going around the question here, Steven.
No, I know, I know, I know,
Who
I know.
who are they getting out? Because they have money tied
Okay,
up in Justin Hall, and Kerfoot is the fourth most expensive player on the forward core.
yeah.
Sorry, one, two,
Uh,
three, fifth most
Fifth,
after
yes, that
Nylander,
that sounds right.
Nylander.
Yes. I mean, okay, so looking at their depth forwards, I mean, Amirov, I don't think he's moving, especially with the brain tumor that he has that he's dealing with. I think that would be in poor taste to move a guy like that now, especially if you're the Leafs. That's just bad press you're asking for.
Yeah, we're not
Alex
talking.
Steves
We're
is
not talking
22
about
years old,
prospects, Steven. We're talking about money. We need money.
but we don't need to. The Leafs have 3.7 in cap space. They can pick up a guy easily, so I'm not worried about the money anymore.
You sure about that?
Yes, I'm absolutely sure.
Mm,
I mean, yeah. So there's Alex Steves, 22 years old. He played a handful of games this year, but again, I don't think he has that much value. Mikhail Abramov, maybe you can move out. Semyon Durgashintsev, don't want to trade him, especially since he would be the centerman for that second line or third line, probably more realistically,
You
because he
also
did
have
play you.
Sandin and Liljegren who are coming up on their contract. RFA is.
Well, much experience though, so they're not going to ask for huge contracts. You can probably get them back on like or less maybe. Maybe like another like a 2 year at like 950K or something. There's Joey Anderson, who's just kind of been in the minors. I think a lot of Leaf fans forget about him. Remember, like he's played in the NHL with New Jersey in previous years, so he's just there. But again, I think he's more of just a guy for the Leafs.
Yeah.
Defensively, though, I mean, you got Mac Hollowell, but again, he's 23. Oh man,
There's
there's not
Topi.
much. There's
Topi.
Topi
Yeah,
Niemela,
Niemela.
yes.
Niemela.
But I know Dubas said that he's not trading. He basically said he's not trading him for a rental.
Yeah. Why they have that
So like
first?
if
They
you're
have
the
the first round pick that I'm sure that's going to be.
yeah, that could be moved. I guess yeah. Let me look at the unsigned guys. So yeah, Niemela and Matthew Nyes. Those were the two guys that Dubas said he's not trading them for a rental. So if he does trade them, maybe it's for like a Chikrin or something like that, right? Like a guy who has years left.
Right.
So again, if I think honestly that's one of the only realistic trade options for the Leafs, just based on what they have to offer and what they could bring in. Because if not, then you're trading like I don't know, you're probably trading like next year's third for like a rental or like something like that, or like next year's second. Because this year you only have a first, second, and seventh, so I don't think they're trading either of the first or second this year. I think it's gonna be next year's picks that get moved.
They're
At least
not.
that's what I would do.
Yeah. Well, they're not. I don't know if a team would want a third or like. What are you going to get for a third for next year? You're not going to get.
Well, if it's a guy who's gonna leave in free agency, a third round pick, you'll take that.
Depends. I don't know. A guy that's a value is not like John Klingberg's not going to go for a third. Josh Manson's not going to go for
No,
a third. Ben Sherrod's not going to go
no.
for a third. Colin Miller maybe, but like
Okay, then the Leafs have
say
their
for
second next
example,
year that they can offer.
if you traded away Justin Hall,
Yeah.
Justin Hall first round pick for Josh Manson, you're removing cap space that allows you to potentially re-sign Josh Manson. I mean, still you have uh, again Timothy Liljegren and Sandin that you Labushkin and uh, also Labushkin needs a new contract as well. So
Hmm.
you know
Well, that's if they decide to sign him up.
that's right, that's right. These are tough questions for Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. I mean, he spoke this past Monday kind of about like, I guess just like everything going on, state of things. Um, and yeah, basically just kind of kept things hush. He basically just said all the things that we already brought up, where like they're looking for a defenseman, like like he said, like they know that there's a problem with the team right now. They're actively looking for the solution. Um, yeah, Niemela and Nyes won't be traded for rentals, so you don't have to worry about that. Basically, he just did his due diligence and said, like, yeah, I'm like sticking with Campbell. He's our guy. You know, Mrazek's also there. We're not giving up on them. He basically just doubled down on the team he has, but said at the same time that yeah, we are looking for a defenseman to bring in. So yeah, who knows who that defenseman is that they bring in? I
Yeah.
mean, Justin Braun also is a guy too. Like at 1.8, I think he's a guy you can get for a third easily.
Justin Braun, yeah, he again Philadelphia Flyer player here. I'm not entirely sure how well he's doing.
Like he well, he
He's
plays
positive.
though
He's a plus
like he
two.
has size and he's like there we go. Oh my god, look at that. But like he also the way he plays, I think that's more what I want. Like I want that kind of player on the Leafs, the guy who can bring physicality because he'll probably be playing third pairing with like either Dermott or Sandine or someone like that, someone who puck and do all the other things. So he won't be asked to do all that stuff, and he can actually just play his own game. And yeah, they can. I don't. I think that would be a good solution. That would be a good trade to get a good player to bring in.
Right.
You know. So I don't know. I mean, that seems like I think that's probably the best value rental in the league right now. I think he's going to be a hot commodity come trade deadline just because of how like you don't have to like no one has to retain money even though it'll be for 1 year. Like you don't have to retain. You can just kind of come into your lineup and fill in the gap right away.
No, I agree with you on that. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see. I guess, eh?
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I always love this time of year just for all the news and the things going on and seeing what happens and a lot of surprises come up. So yeah, I'm interested to see how it goes.
Excited for it to kick off.